So originally we went out to Manila, and that's where we had a couple of short key meetings, but then it was actually out to Cebu, which actually acted as one of the main focal areas for the operations for response to Cyclone Haiyan. Then initially, for example, going out into Leyte, and everyone I'm sure is familiar with the stories that came out of Tacloban, that was a priority for us to get out there. But however, we'd also been in contact with people who were veterinarians out on the island, and knew that a lot of the operating areas would have been very inefficient. And we looked at it and thought, realistically, where are we best to be? And where you looked at where the cyclone path went through several islands, not just Leyte, we saw that northern Cebu was one of the most heavily impacted areas, and equally Panay Island a little bit further north of that. So our initial team went up to northern Cebu, and we focused on an area called Bantayan Island and around there. And they call it the egg basket of the Philippines. And when you have wind speeds of that magnitude ripping through, everything got destroyed. They lost over 4 million poultry, just as one idea alone. Well, the one relief was day one in Cebu was that the actual main city had been avoided of Cebu Island, as it were. So that was good. We had a good operating base to set up there. But really, when we drove up, and we'd see damage from as soon as 2.5 hours of driving north from Cebu. Initially, you start to see a bit of foliage damage. Then you see some minor structural damage to houses. And then really, when you get up into the main impact zone, everything's flattened. And our initial assessment saw lots of animals that were affected, but it was difficult to put it this way. In northern Cebu, in the 7 provinces that we were working in, even though the Philippines has a very well-established veterinary association and a lot of vets, but they're not always where you need them. And in northern Cebu, there was one vet only working in that entire region for supporting 7 smaller districts. And so obviously we identified that veterinary support was a key element to our response. It's incredible. People often ask us, why are you helping animals, not people? But actually the people that have been impacted by these disasters, Haiyan included, are always so grateful that we're actually there to help their animals. They get it. They understand that their animals are either part of the family or they're part of their livelihoods. And so actually when an organisation like ours shows up and says, hey, we're here to help your animals, they go, great, thank you very much, And it always surprises me how genuinely resilient and the happiness they have when we do go there and meet them. They've had their house destroyed, they may have lost family members, and when we show up, let's not miss the point here that some of them are obviously heavily traumatized, but many of the people that we meet are just really happy to see us there, helping them, helping their animals, and they view our support as a vital part of the response, a vital part of their recovery, and the ongoing relationship. So, the support has enabled us to be on the front foot. It's enabled us to have a team ready to go out the door, to be there to help animals immediately after the impact of any natural disaster. And the initial work for the rapid response, for us, yes, it's a critical part, and it's the part where we get to open doors to help animals in so many other ways that you might not otherwise get. And being there at that time is critical. So that's the first thing. But equally and probably even more important is the work that we do afterwards. Why did those animals die, so many of them? Where were the weak points? Where can we make things stronger, better for the next time? Because there will be a next time, and that's just the nature of climate change and all of those things that we see on the news all the time. So now, going into the longer term response, building the capacity, making the veterinarians the Philippines have more resources, better trained, better equipped to go out and do the rapid response and be aware so that they can actually help communities better prepare, so that, as we say to anyone anywhere in the world, if you own an animal, make a plan for those animals, because actually by making a plan for those animals, you'll be making a plan already for yourself and for your family. So you help your animals, have a plan for them, you'll be helping yourself.